You really ready to rap live in front of 8 million listeners tuned in?
I think it is 8 million potential new fans, and sometimes you have no choice, and it just is what it is, so here we go.
8 million people that's about to think that you're whack.
Or not.
This is Zim Critique with the new channel 9 Nerd Yards, and I'm bringing the first video about FX's Dave in Atlanta because they have both quickly become my favorite TV shows on the air. And while sharing basically the same premise, they actually do a great job of being so different. The comparisons are easy to make. As stated before, they both air on FX, they are both comedies, and they are both centered around an up-and-coming artist trying to navigate their way through the tumultuous music industry. But they also have such a specific way of tackling different topics in their own light. Atlanta has been said to be the rap Twin Peaks. Dave is more Broad City with its delivery. It seems most of the articles and reviews I've read want to attach a surface-level label to each show, and review the content based on the one label. For obvious reasons, it's easy to call Dave the gentrified Atlanta, or since they are on the same network, pit them against each other for a race of viewership. However, doing that is ignoring what each show is trying to actually achieve in the message that each creator is trying to convey to their audience. First, let's look at what each creator is bringing to the table. Donald Glover has been called a triple threat for his career as a writer on 30 Rock, as the rapper Childish Gambino, and as an actor in roles from Community to Star Wars. And you can see the different layers of Glover's experience throughout Atlanta. Dave Burd, otherwise known as Lil Dicky, is just throwing his hat into the whole TV thing for the first time. Outside of rap, Dave has not had any notable experience in writing, acting, or the entertainment industry in general. So he takes an autobiographical approach and tells literally the story of himself, Dave. However, Dave's inexperience in the realm doesn't mean he isn't exactly where he wants to be.
I think it's everything that you just said. Like, I've been waiting my whole life to make a comedy and share my perspective, but I think
Dave has frequently expressed that his dream was always to be a comedian or an actor, and rap just happened to be the conduit to fulfill that goal. Dave in Atlanta began the same way, with each respective artist, Lil Dicky and Paperboy, played by Brian Tyree Henry, recently gaining internet clout from their latest release. However, internet clout doesn't pay the bills, and each artist is in need of a good manager and record deal.
You know where the word manage come from?
Manus, Latin for hand?
Probably, but I'm gonna say no for the purpose of my argument.
Dave uses this premise to tell his own story, where his actual experiences are the motivation for each episode. Donald Glover inserts his own experiences with the industry into Atlanta, but the show is not about him. As mentioned before, Glover is not one of the respective artists. Glover plays the character of Earn, a Princeton dropout turned rap manager. Earn is extremely easy to root for, but he is arguably not the main protagonist of Atlanta. Earn's cousin, Paperboy, is. And that is the key difference that changes the progress and themes of each show. In Atlanta, Donald Glover's character Earn is the underdog story we follow, but his success depends on the success of his cousin Paperboy's rap career. If Paperboy doesn't make it big, then neither does Earn, and the story doesn't progress. Going a non-biographical route allows Atlanta to introduce a swath of other character episodes for Paperboy, Van, and the fan favorite Darius, in a way that Dave is trying to incorporate, but is definitely lacking in, at least for its first season. For example, Dave's What Would You Wear and Atlanta's Value are both episodes where Dave and Glover are scarcely present, and you can see how big of a role other characters play in progressing the story. In Value, Donald Glover's lover Van needs help passing a drug test, but doesn't want to rely on Earn and call him for help, so she calls Paperboy instead. Her plan doesn't work out, and ultimately she loses her job.
The system isn't made for these kids to succeed, and you gotta shake it off somehow. I get it. But unfortunately, you have admitted the use of an illegal substance to a superior, so I've gotta fire you. To cover my own ass as well as the school's, you understand. Okay.
This affects the main story because later in this season, Earn begins to get a big head, he's paying all of the bills, and calls Van out for losing her job, furthering the tension in their relationship. In What Would You Wear, we see Dave's producer friend Els and Dave's designer friend Emma begin a relationship. It doesn't work out much, and well, that's it. It's a cute bottled love story of an episode, but I doubt it's anyone's favorite episode in the season. Sorry, Taco. There is a freedom in storytelling when the audience knows Donald Glover doesn't actually need to be in every episode. The way the story is separated allows for the focus to shift away from him organically. Even the city of Atlanta acts as its own character with surreal elements recurring in the story. So by taking the focus off of one character, in Atlanta we get a narrative that both tackles multiple perspectives and progresses the story without the audience wondering where our protagonist is in the episode. Now, when we look at Lil Dicky's show Dave, we see the focus of the narrative is completely from the perspective of Dave Burd. I mean, the show is called Dave, so clearly it's about him. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I think it makes the most sense because he's not an experienced actor or writer, so he gives the audience what he can. Himself.
Hi, I'm Dave. I'm Lil Dicky. Hi, I'm Dave. Who's Dave?
Contrary to the role that Donald Glover plays in Atlanta, Dave Burd plays himself and actually raps on the show. Except for the few snippets that we see of a fake YouTube video, we don't actually see Paperboy rap or get on stage in Atlanta. And honestly, it wouldn't add anything to the story of Atlanta.
Yes. Alfred, I am allowed to smoke.
But weed is for people who aren't going anywhere, though. It's like for losers.
Listen, I'm calling you because I need your help.
In Dave, the moments where Lil Dicky raps are what I think are the show's shining moments. Dave gets into focus and the energy in the room shifts before his lyrics start tumbling out of the most wholesome, unassuming faces.
Y'all probably didn't know what this was. Y'all probably about to hop on this bus. If you know somebody that'll call my bluff, then line them all up. They will all need hugs, condolences. In my own.
As you see the people in the room start bobbing their heads, you can't help but feel happy for him. Just like the way he raps, Dave is filled with Lil Dicky's personality and humor. The other characters on the show are fantastic, but mostly feel like devices for Dave to express his own personal struggles with identity, family, friends, and sex. Throughout the season, we see how with every step closer to his goal, he's confronted with the question of who he is really. Is he Dave, or is he Lil Dicky? And with each step toward becoming a famous rapper, that question of identity becomes more convoluted and more genuine.
I think when they watch the show, I feel like the show contextualizes Lil Dicky to an extent. Like I feel like when people meet me, they oftentimes say, "I didn't know you were going to be a nice guy. I thought you'd be an asshole." But I really feel like I'm a very kind man, and I think the show kind of shows the guy behind, the decisions that go into making, Lil Dicky be what he is.
The identity question contextualizes Dave and is ultimately hilarious when it comes all together. At the end of the day, Dave and Atlanta are both fantastic shows that I can't wait to see more of. While they may share the same premise, they separate each other by using each creator's natural talents to convey a story like nothing else on television. If you are a fan of Atlanta and you are hesitant to watch Dave, I say leave your reservations at the door and give it a shot. If you already love Dave and haven't watched Atlanta, then I don't know what you're doing with your life.